Welcome to Dasmo Hunt. I'm Xiao Pierre Ruth for Information Week. And in this episode, we are going to take a look at how the way AI and the cloud spaces are evolving together, shaping each other, interplaying with each other, and might lead to new potential futures and new frontiers potentially, seeing where they're both leading. We're coming out of still in the midst of AI really being on the rise, kind of also in the wake of the cloud transformation era, which is still kind of ongoing. But, we're seeing, both of these technology resources, very much in demand, but then also there's some push and pull in terms of what they bring, what they need, and what organizations want. So, once again, bring together some experts to, help me, dissect this kind of topic. Today, we are joined by Sundaram Lakshmanan, CTO for Lookout, and Amrit Jassal, co-founder and CTO for Egnyte. Both of you, thank you so much for making yourselves available.
Great to be here.
Great to be here. Thank you. Thank you, JP.
All right. So, AI and the cloud, there's definitely, interplay. These are not new technologies, but that we've definitely been seeing an escalation of how they're being used and what the needs are that organizations are looking at. Sundaram, how long has AI really already been part of cloud computing, and was in play
Mhm.
prior to the generative AI boom that we're seeing?
That's a great question, JP. I mean, a lot of people became aware of AI when this open API came out of the stealth, and it was all about generative AI. But most of our practitioners, like Amit and I, we have been in the industry for so long. AI has been in the industry for, I would say, better part of 10, 15 years. Amit, I say you would agree with that observation. So there are two kinds of AI. Yeah, there is a predictive AI, and then there is a generative AI. Generative AI is the one that's catching the attention more recently. But the predictive AI, like it has been in application for too long now. I mean, whether it's in healthcare, medical imaging, in autos, pilots and self-driving cars, image recognition. This has been going on for a long time, I would say. But what's interesting with generative AI is it can go beyond predicting. It can generate content, different types of content. And that's what caught the imagination of a lot of people, especially in speech, language, understanding languages better, giving you more context. Yeah, that's kind of been there. We used to call it by different names, though. Now it's AI stands for generative AI, but it used to be machine learning, deep learning, and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
It is, really interesting when you look at the, sort of the scope of machine learning AI, right? Um, we had one AI winter, then we had another AI winter we lived through, and now we are in this other. And I'm hoping this is not going to be like that, because definitely the all these techniques are moving out of the back office, the front office, and you have actual end users enthused and pushing for this. It is really amazing, how it's really the end users who are driving this, and getting the engineering folks dragging them along, at a pace maybe they're not comfortable with right now. But yeah, I mean, when you look at, when the transformer architecture was introduced less than 10 years ago, and the way it has caught steam, and how we have taken that and run with it, with larger and larger data sets, and able to really squeeze more and more things out of it. It is really amazing that this is what has happened. And I recollect, there is this in the 80s. I think there was a small note that was written about the bitter lessons of deep learning, which is that these models, this architecture is effectively just taking over all the previous machine learning work that has happened, and bespoke models that we would actually create, for specific things before. People are just using deep learning for all of those things, whether it's classification or entity recognition or whatever. All those things, natural language processing, specific techniques are pretty much being eaten alive by deep learning.
Gotcha. Great. And definitely appreciate both of your perspectives on that. Amrit, can you take a look at what are some of the trade-offs that come with intertwining AI with the cloud, particularly on the side of, like, say, security and data privacy?
Yeah, I would say, that's probably the first question that, every customer basically asks us, hey, who is going to take our data, train models on, and, what guarantees are in place? And everyone knows that pretty much everyone is using one of those big three sort of like language models out in the cloud, and and then you look at, the type of things which are going on with specialized hardware, right? When you look at TPUs and all GPUs in the cloud, and now with the new sort of even the laptops, having the neural chips on the edge and so on, right? It's becoming possible for people to build specialized models, like smaller specialized models, right? And we know that the real information that companies have is locked in proprietary data sets, and they are not willing to share that. Obviously, that's their, sort of secret. I mean, that's the IP, right? So now the interesting thing that is happening is people want to train those their own data, and then you have these large language models that you do want to use in the cloud, which have these powerful reasoning capabilities. So you need to marry the two. So that really now gets into this governance thing. Who is actually looking at this data and controlling it? Are you able to leverage all the cloud infrastructure for MLOps to train these models, while preserving privacy? So we have, of course, in the past talked about end-to-end encryption, differential privacy, all of those type of things, federated learning, etc., to make sure that even the data that is really used to train models in the cloud, you still retain control over that. I see some of that stuff is going to come to the fore again, because folks are not just okay with saying, oh, I have an SLA with my cloud provider, and that is my guarantee. I think they want much more than that. So security and privacy is going to be really front and center in this.
Yeah, I would second or what Amit said. I mean, he put it really nice. This is basically that is the trade-off. But other than that, AI and cloud are actually made for each other, I would say. Yeah, AI powers a lot of things that happen in the cloud, and without cloud, I don't think AI would be deployed at this scale to solve this type of complex problems that we are trying to solve with. Right? These are massive problems. They need massive compute engines. But the only trade-off, as Amit said, I would agree, it's about the security and the privacy. That's kind of pristine. See, in the older systems, this is my observation. In the older systems, the computing and the decision making was separate than the data. The data used to be in a different store, and the decision making was more objective, more if then else, more per processing type of thing. But when it comes to AI models, it's just like in our brain, the model has the data, and just that it's not in the readable form that we can extract it out, but it is there. And this generative AI basically is able to generate just because the data is already embedded in that process of whatever computing and decision making together. So it's amazing what it comes to. So just like what Amit said, everybody needs to be aware of what the data is going into these models. Without that's the biggest trade-off that many of the companies, many of these businesses have to make, and understand before they make those trade-offs.
Yeah, and maybe you will probably agree with this, is that typically folks who have been building these applications in the cloud, they have built these applications as I won't say monolith, but almost like they are pulling you into the vertical silos, right? But now you look at this where models, proprietary models, maybe are running in a different place, and the big models are being consumed from a different place, and it's almost like an unbundling of the architecture, the software architectures that people have done in the cloud, where you could control everything. But now it's sort of like you gotta like have that hybrid marriage of the best of breed. It's going to make things a little bit complicated for really coming up with valuable applications in the cloud.
Awesome. All right, cool. Very, very, very good insights. Let's take this a bit further. for both of you, what role does AI have, kind of like, if you already kind of really spoken to this, but what role does AI have in the kind of like the current state of cloud, and how is that expected to change the nature of what we're doing again going forward? Is, you know, piggybacking of what you've already said, are we, is the focus of AI's role in the cloud, about like, bring automation, optimization to the cloud, or the other, what are the other things that AI can bring to, kind of like further evolve the cloud?
So, JP, the thing is, we historically tend to overestimate the impact of these technologies in the short term, right, and underestimate in the long term.
Yeah.
And it's very hard for us to extrapolate too far into the future, especially these things which are more exponential in nature, not linear, right? You're right. Right now, everyone looks at it and says, "Well, I have been solving problems of resource optimization," right? Those type of problems are better understand. Maybe things like people have not been consuming multi-cloud type of architectures that very complicated. Maybe these things will make it like easier for us to consume those type of things as well, right? But it is hard to predict. Because the impact will not be just in these direct things, but in these indirect, implicit things that it's hard to actually predict on that front.
Yeah, no, I would agree. I mean, see, today, we are still thinking more logically. Hey, what problems we need to solve? How do I deploy AI towards that, right? So more and more, it's scalar, cheaper, better, faster. That mindset is still there. But as Amit put it succinctly, this technology is not linear in that this is going to solve more problems that we either never imagined, never came across, nor we thought they were impossible to solve. Right? And when this may lead into breakthroughs into other next evolutions like quantum computing. I mean, just look at how much AI has already shaped healthcare, right? And the human kind population as a whole is going to benefit. And we do need more professionals. Of course, our short-term goal is to address that talent shortage, automation, things like that. But I think this is going to just put us into the next zone in probably less than 5 to 10 years. I think we are going to see more breakthroughs because of AI, thanks to AI. AI is going to help us solve more, identify more problems.
Yeah, I mean, even like one small thing like solving the problem of memory for these models. Today, you have these one-off interactions with these models and you go away. But let's assume that those interactions are preserved and you have infinite memory available to these interactions, and it's really able to personalize things, to you based on all the things that it has observed, with all the various interactions you've had with the world and, with this model, the type of things that you will unlock with even that one sort of like thing, which I'm sure is imminent, is really hard to predict.
Yep. At some point, it's going to escape us. In the sense, I don't think we'll be in a position to predict for the first time in probably the entire human history. Yeah.
Well, yeah, the interesting thing though is that still to create new knowledge and new things, humans will still need to be very much in the loop. This is just raising the bar of what is valuable and what is just baseline, right? The baseline expertise will just goes up, but still you need that in-depth expertise to push the frontiers, keep on pushing them forward.
To listen to the entire conversation, look for the Das 100 podcast on Spreaker, Spotify, Amazon Music, and other popular podcast platforms.